Chicago Sky, y'all stink, bro. Y'all, look, there's trash and then there's trash. You know what I'm saying? But look, man, the Chicago Sky got destroyed by the Stud Buds. Everybody watches the Stud Buds. Shout out to Courtney Williams and Tisha Heiderman, man. Listen, Stud Buds stood on business today. Nafisa Collier stood on business today. They destroyed the Chicago Sky.
Angel Reese turned the court into a turnover buffet, dishing out 9 like she was hosting a giveaway show. 1 for you, 1 for you. Everybody gets a free possession. Meanwhile, the opposing team didn't just show up to play. They showed up to clown. What unfolded wasn't basketball. It was a comedy act in sneakers. The game morphed into a live blooper reel with Angel as the unintentional headliner. If you've ever watched pure confidence spiral into total chaos, this was it. It wasn't just a loss. It was a full-on roast session in real time, and the smoke still hasn't cleared.
Reese had 9 turnovers. Listen, y'all got to stop with this point forward foolishness, man. Let's take a look, man. Hold on, man. Y'all be wildin'. Y'all be wildin', son. Bruh, come on, man. Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop, yo. Y'all gotta stop.
At this point, the only thing that makes sense is that the coaching staff must be in on the joke. This isn't basketball anymore. It's performance art, a live comedy sketch on how not to run an offense. Every time they try to run a play through her, the paint turns into gridlock worse than LA rush hour. You can almost hear the court itself begging, please no more. She camps out in the lane like she's setting up a tent, and as for the pick and roll, the only thing rolling is the ball straight into the hands of the other team.
Entire WNBA and Angel Reese in garbage time. We saw it. Angel Reese last year against the Fever with like 2 minutes to go. She needed to, I think it was like 6 points and 3 rebounds. And she went and caught like 2 rebounds and then immediately goes at Victoria Saxton 3 times in a row.
So instead of watching the offense crash and burn, the team has given Angel Reese the cute little label of facilitator, which sounds fine if this were a preschool passing drill, not a professional league. In reality, facilitator basically means please don't shoot, just hand the ball off and pray something good happens. Because when she's not dishing it off, she's clanking shots. When she's not clinking, she's flailing around like she's caught in a wind tunnel. And when she's not flailing, she's traveling, both on the court and mentally, drifting somewhere far, far away from the basket.
Chases after this opponent, gets close to her during a box out, grabs her by her hips, and hip tosses her, throwing her to the ground. She stands up, she walks over to this opponent, bends over, screams in her face, and flips her the double bird. That's the WNBA gold. We're going to get into it. And the laughter. Oh, Angel. Oh, my angel. You're my darling. Angel, angel, angel. You've been playing well, Angel. I give it to you. You've been playing well. But every now and then, those stinkers. Oh, man.
At this point, it's not just a few rough games. It's starting to look like a full-blown basketball conspiracy. No one wants to say it out loud, but let's be honest. Angel Reese has been flat-out terrible. And not rookie struggling bad. More like, how is she still in the rotation? Bad. There are lawn ornaments with quicker footwork and scarecrows with better ball control. Yet somehow, there she is, clogging up the offense like old gum in an ATM slot. And heaven forbid anyone benches her. That would mean admitting the hype was hollow, that all those glowing headlines and recycled highlight clips were nothing more than smoke and mirrors. So instead, they leave her posted up at the top of the arc, flailing her arms like she's directing traffic while her teammates scramble like it's a fire drill. But don't be fooled. There's no play being set up. The only thing being executed is another blooper-worthy turnover. Sure, the ball leaves her hands, but it usually ends up right in the opponent's.
Like, there's absolutely no foul in that. He gets a good whistle, jumps up, and then goes at somebody on the other team. Who she go at? She goes at Diamond Miller, her former Maryland teammate. And, like, Angel's one tech off a suspension as well. And is, like, anytime anyone gets into it with her, she's straight in their face. And I'm like, I don't mind that. But you just got to be smart. To be fair, the sky sucks, so you might as well just go and take your I'll say it.
And here's the real tragedy. You can literally see her teammates adapting to her flaws in real time. Just watch the floor spacing. They hesitate, pause, and avoid cutting anywhere near her like she's a basketball black hole. Nobody wants to be the next victim of a wild pass, a botched screen, or a rogue dribble that somehow bounces off her own foot. This isn't strategy. It's survival. They're not running plays. They're running damage control. And the irony couldn't be thicker. For all the talk about her leadership, grit, and championship pedigree, Angel Reese has become the dead weight dragging the team down. Not the anchor you build around, but the kind that sinks the ship while everyone else scrambles for life vests. We're supposed to believe 9 turnovers are part of the learning curve? No, that's not development. That's a full-blown basketball identity crisis. Just standing in the dunker spot while a teammate gets swarmed by defenders isn't spacing. It's obstruction. Right now, the only thing Reese is setting up are transition points for the opposing team. She's not a creator. She's a plot twist, and not the underdog comeback kind. She's the twist that ruins the whole script.
Thought she was turning her season around. Just when I thought Angel Reese was graduating from pretend basketball player to make-believe basketball player, the level where it's almost believable that Angel Reese is a basketball player. Just when I thought Angel Reese would pull through in the clutch and do America a favor. With a win last night against the Minnesota Lynx, Angel Reese would have become the most popular player in the WNBA dump. Well, Casey, that's simply not possible. Caitlin Clark will always be the most popular player in the WNBA.
You know things are falling apart when the other team actually wants Angel Reese to get the ball. They're daring her to shoot, practically begging her to take control because they already know how it ends. You can almost picture the opposing coach smirking on the bench, muttering, "Let her work," fully aware she's about to serve up a cold mess with the smoke alarm already blaring. And when it comes to transition defense, it's just as bad. Watching her chase down a play after a turnover is like watching someone run a marathon in house slippers. Technically, she's moving, but it's all for show. Her body language screams frustration, but there's no fire, no urgency, just noise without impact. Meanwhile, the coaching staff can't possibly be unaware. You don't sit through this many offensive meltdowns and still think, yeah, let's keep that going. This isn't a strategy. It's wishful thinking dressed in a jersey. They're hiding behind the excuse of player development, quietly using her as a decoy and praying no one checks the box score too closely. Still, the show must go on, press conferences filled with generic praise and highlight reels cut right before the turnover. It's all smoke, mirrors, and denial masking a simple truth. The system isn't working, and everyone knows it.
Why people are defending this, let's get into it. Aneka Ogumite, she gets up, proceeds to get boxed out, unable to move her opponent out of the way. Aneka Ogumike retaliates, grabs her by the hips, throws her to the floor, stands over her, screams on her, flips her the double bird. Quinterly, Dallas Wings teammate, being a good teammate, gets in the middle of the two, pushes Aneka out of the way like a good teammate should. Instead of saying, Aneka, come here, let me get you a hug. No, get up off my teammate, girl. Get up off my teammate. Aneka Ogumike can't let it go.
The whole setup feels like a masterclass in distraction. Trim the footage, add some dramatic music, and maybe, just maybe, people will ignore the scoreboard or the fact that their so-called superstar tripped over her own hype while the team got blown out. Meanwhile, the rest of the squad is out there grinding, players who can actually shoot, move without the ball, and understand how a shot clock works, all being sidelined to protect a brand. Because let's be honest, it's not about winning anymore, it's about saving face. No one wants to admit they bet on the wrong horse. And that's the real tragedy. Angel Reese never asked to be overhyped, but now she's trapped in a storyline that reads more like a fairy tale than a stat sheet. The real triple-double? Hype, delusion, and denial. Some fans see a double-double and act like she just dropped a gourmet 30-piece meal, but anyone actually watching the game with clear eyes and common sense can see it for what it is. Not dominance, but disaster. Sloppy, unfocused, and dripping with overconfidence, Angel Reese's box scores are like viral headlines. Flashy, exaggerated, and completely misleading once you dig beneath the surface.
A win last night, Angel Reese would have surpassed the Rue from Waterloo in popularity. Now, I am not saying that her dozens of aliases would have passed Caitlin Clark, but Angel Reese herself, she definitely would have. Going into the game last night, Cheryl Reed, the head coach of the Minnesota Lynxers, she told the doofus duo who refer to themselves as stud buds, she told them if they lost this game to the Chicago Bravado, they would no longer be allowed to stream on Twitch.
Let's be honest, yeah, Angel Reese gets rebounds, but most of them come off her own missed shots. It's like she bricks it, then just waits for the ball to bounce back into her hands. We might as well invent a new stat category, self-cleanup rebounds. Because grabbing your own air-all isn't hustle, it's damage control. That's not dominance. That's janitorial work with a headband on. And those points she puts up? Let's not act like it's smooth offense. Half the time, the team is force-feeding her the ball, like their season depends on it. It's painful to watch, like someone trying to jam a square peg into a round hole while the shot clock melts away. They treat her like prime Shaq, but she finishes like someone whose controller just disconnected mid-play. Every shot feels like a gamble, every possession one mistake away from disaster. Sure, after enough tries she'll rack up 10 points, but that's not efficiency, that's volume. The ball leaves her hands with all the optimism of a kid tossing confetti and hoping it turns to gold. For a split second, it looks good, then reality hits. You can practically see defenders exhale with relief every time she forces another creative pass straight into traffic, like they're about to say, "Appreciate it, fam."
Lads, Angel Reese is currently about to be suspended. She has 7 technical fouls on the season. And if this was last season, in a 44-game season, she would have already been suspended. And it is genuinely one of the funny things about this is that her fans are arguing that none of the texts are warranted. They are all warranted.
And yet, somehow, she's being marketed as the face of the WNBA. But which face are we talking about here? Because, let's be real, she's less of a poster girl and more of a walking warning label. Want to learn the pick and roll? Skip the Angel Reese highlight reel. Need tips on defensive rotation? Close that video before you lose brain cells. Looking for a masterclass in killing your team's momentum with one reckless drive into a wall of defenders? Congrats, you've found your case study. Watching her play feels less like basketball and more like performance art. You could hang it in a gallery and call it How to Derail an Offense Without Even Touching the Ball. She'll freeze in the paint like a statue nobody asked for, take 5 whole seconds to launch a shot like she's winding up a medieval catapult, and when she finally gets the ball in the post, her teammates scatter like the ball just caught fire. Because everyone knows what's next, either a wild, off-balance prayer that hits everything but the rim, or a jump pass launched straight into the stands like a free souvenir for sections 1 through 12.
What's up, y'all? I just want to talk about this chick, Angel Reese, for a second. She has been all over my timeline, over my Twitter or X, Instagram, TikTok. She's always pushing people and this and that. She's always in controversy. So let me address this situation real quick. How is she a professional athlete? Like, can we step back for a second and just analyze this situation? How in the world is this chick a professional athlete? She is, out of all the clips that I've seen, she is the worst basketball player I've ever seen.
But somehow, the hype still lingers. Sure, Angel Reese dropped 14 points and grabbed 12 boards. On paper, that sounds solid. But dig deeper, and it's a mess. The offense moved like spoiled milk through a busted blender, and those numbers came at the cost of rhythm, flow, and basic ball movement. At some point, the box score stops mattering when the eye test is screaming, "This ain't it." There's a big difference between real impact and empty inflation. One wins games, The other just pads stats while your team gets blown out by 20. Sadly, Reese fits squarely in the second category. Her game is the basketball version of junk food. It fills the box score, but gives her team nothing of substance. It might look like she's eating, but it's all empty stat stuffing, like chewing on packing peanuts and calling it a meal. Then there's the attitude. The over-the-top celebrations after a basic layup while trailing by double digits. The trash talk after hitting a free throw when the scoreboard's flashing red. It's like throwing confetti on a sinking ship. Swagger is great when you're dominating, but when you're bricking shots like a one-woman construction crew, that confidence stops looking fierce and starts feeling like parody. She walks with the swagger of a 10-year vet, but plays like someone who just discovered basketball through TikTok highlights.
Made some comments about Angel Reese.
Yeah.
You called her garbage compared to Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I love black people. Mwah, 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 mwah. But I think sometimes we do play the race card too much. This ain't racial. This is about sports. This is about athletic ability. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at Caitlin Clark's game, who's very reminiscent of a Steph Curry based on her range and shooting the three, plus everything else she does. And then you look at Angel Reese.
Look, having swagger is cool. Confidence is part of the game, but there's a razor-thin line between confidence and full-blown delusion, and right now, Angel Reese is crossing it with style. She's basically starring in her own fantasy highlight reel, where the motto seems to be, let it fly, even if it airballs and triggers 5 straight turnovers. What makes it worse is how the commentators bend over backward to defend her like it's a paid gig. She brings energy. They say, yeah, so does a car crash. She's got presence, sure, like a traffic cone. Presence only matters when it elevates the game, not when it's just animated chaos after fouling someone on a fast break. That's the brutal side of the spotlight. Every mistake turns into a meme, every missed rotation becomes a blooper clip, and yet somehow, she still gets the minutes, still gets the touches, still gets the spotlight. Meanwhile, her teammates are just orbiting her mess, forced to adapt to the chaos like satellites caught in her gravitational pull. She's treated like the sun in the basketball universe, loud, bright, and burning everything around her. As long as her box score looks decent, the system keeps pretending it's working, even if it's dragging the whole team down in silence.
But Angel Reese got to be the worst basketball player ever. She's the worst basketball player ever. Like, do y'all guys don't understand this? She only made 2 points with 12 rebounds. She missed a couple of shots and she missed a rebound, bro. She only made 12 rebounds. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 12 rebounds.
But eventually, reality hits. The turnovers keep stacking, the shot selection spirals, and that fake hustle act starts losing its shine. Fans who actually watch the games, not just the highlight clips, begin to see the truth. Those flashy box scores? Pure fool's gold. Hype doesn't win games. Execution does. And sometimes the so-called face of the league is just a mask, hiding missed layups, broken plays, and footwork sloppy enough to belong in a blooper reel. Sure, celebrate that so-called dominant 14-point, 12-rebound performance, but don't forget the 9 turnovers, the clogged paint, the teammates scrambling out of sync, and the scoreboard flashing a blowout. Because behind every double-double is a double shot of delusion and a stat sheet that screams one thing louder than the hype ever could: turnover machine.